Imagine living in a country where federal agents are pepper spraying teenagers, tear gassing families on school grounds, and city officials are demanding ICE stay away from campuses. And some people are still choosing to spend their energy treating whole milk like a sacred civil liberty taken from them. There's another group of Americans out there whose entire identity now hinges on milk.
Today, I'm delighted to sign the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law.
They don't want to fight war, inequality, or state violence. They want to feel oppressed so badly, they turned dairy into oppression porn. It's led by a parade of grifters like Riley Gaines, who has never won anything except internet outrage, and now they're crying over whole milk as if it's some symbolic lynching while actual atrocities are happening across cities in real time. It's 2026 and not a single fucking light is on at these people. I'll break down why this fight landed on milk because it didn't happen randomly. There's a historical script for this type of fixation, and it usually shows up when power needs a harmless looking costume. We're going to pull that apart. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. This is Willa Paritra. She uses she, her pronouns. Please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. If you are, turn those notifications on. Make sure they're on. Hype this video, which you can only do on mobile, because we really need to maintain our lead on Katie Miller, who is the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, the white nationalist, potbelly Dracula from Santa Monica, behind all of this terror. And a reminder, I bootstrap this podcast. Subbing is free, and it takes all of us to fight the fascism. So, according to the White House, whole milk has been missing, absent, silenced, suppressed by shadowy forces that literally do not exist. I need you to understand how hysterical that framing is. Whole milk has never gone anywhere. It has never been banned. You could always buy it at Ralph's, serve it at home, or bring it to school if you want. The USDA rules didn't outlaw the liquid. They simply set rules for which milk the federal government would reimburse schools in for their lunch programs. That's it. Whole milk was never gone. It just wasn't a choice on federal checks every time a kid got lunch. It's like calling a hot dog banned because the cafeteria only reimburses turkey dogs. They still exist. They're still edible. They're still in stores. So why are we talking about this? And how does it have anything to do with 2012? Well, that's when the USDA updated federal nutrition standards as part of the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act, spearheaded by Michelle Obama. These updates applied only to federally reimbursed school meals, not cafeteria or home-packed lunches. They said schools could still serve milk, but the reimbursed default had to be fat-free or 1%. Why? Because kids were already consuming too much saturated fat, and heart disease doesn't wait until adulthood to start its damage. So Michelle Obama's goal was pretty simple. She wanted to see more fruits and vegetables, less sugar, reasonable portions, evidence-based, science-based nutrition standards, and conservatives lost their minds. Milk suddenly became this symbol of oppression, a stand-in for every imagined tyranny in a lunch tray. Schools were still serving pizza. Milk had never disappeared. But somehow, Obama banned whole milk, and it became a talking point strong enough to survive a decade and come back as federal law that they needed a signing ceremony for, because somebody tells you that your cheese is optional, your freedom is gone. Fast forward to now, and suddenly Trump signs a law like he is undoing a literal atrocity. That grievance energy is off the charts.
Why should kids not be given the choice to drink whole milk? How is that even possible? So it's amazing to work for you because you just own common sense and you're driving it through.
People want to feel oppressed so bad that they turned milk into a horse and rode it straight into Congress. Like, they're actively scanning government PDFs for tiny little slights to inflate into existential crisis. Every rule about calories or fat is a personal attack, and it didn't start with whole milk. No, it started first with raw milk, straight from the cow, no pasteurization, bacteria forward, a 19th century medical emergency in liquid form. RFK Jr. has been obsessed with it for years, and let me get this straight. You guys are still listening to that leather-skinned man who collects and eats dead animals and spreads every conspiracy theory that crosses into his tiny little mind. Now he's the nation's milk guru because he got tired of fighting food dye? What an insult this is to real doctors, to real physicians, and researchers who have dedicated their entire lives to science to watch a bunch of ding-dongs rally around him. Like, hello, we live in a world where every healthcare system is collapsing, costs are skyrocketing, And yet, the one person I'm supposed to trust for advice on children's health is literally the guy who thinks pasteurization is a liberal myth. It's nuts. All of our public health infrastructure is being gutted. Medical care is more expensive than ever. And somehow, milk, 1% difference in fat in cow's milk is the hill we're expected to die on. Raw milk is dangerous. You are gross. CDC data shows that children are over 10 times more likely to get sick from raw milk than adults. Outbreaks of E. coli, salmonella, listeria, and even kidney failure and hospitalizations. Pregnant people are at risk. These numbers are real. They're backed by real science and real physicians, not brainworm bro bullshit. Lawyers, health officials, and actual science shut this down. Whole milk became the cleaned up version, a harmless stand in for the original conspiracy. And of course, this makes perfect sense in a world where conspiracy politics are like the whole thing. These theories are like participation trophies for the dumbest people you know. They make dumb people feel seen. It's like someone is finally validating your internal sense of grievance. And these people find their community in this ignorance. Suddenly, your inability to read a peer reviewed study or understand a nutrition guideline transforms into a virtuous act, an act of courage against the oppressed forces of pasteurized milk. It's pathetic. So here we are, a man obsessed with bacteria, a raw milk cult, and adults who have never been oppressed a day in their life, treating dairy like it's a civil rights violation, all while the real world burns. It's just burning around us. This fake whole milk crisis is a spotlight on exactly who these people are and why they need to feel oppressed over a glass of milk rather than, literally anything else going on. And listen, I don't actually care what anyone drinks. I'm a vegan as long as you're not hurting anyone. But this is the battle they choose. And yet, here we are. People treat cow's milk like they're prisoners of war because they need to feel something. If you can't win a war against the planet or systematic injustice, you can at least tweet about your milk rights, because here's the part Riley Gaines is too self-absorbed to admit. The dairy lobby is a $1.2 million lobbying machine, and it magically turns into a law that guarantees demand. Close to $500 million in costs shift onto underfunded school districts. Alignment requirements with federal nutrition law are ignored, and yet somehow kids are healthier because milk has more fat. Ultra-processed food is still on the menu. Cafeterias are still underfunded. Hunger is still a real problem. But hey, milk is thicker by 1%. We all get to clap.
Okay, not bad. Not bad.
The outrage is so disproportional, and that's what makes this really surreal. Climate instability accelerating, healthcare buckling, state violence completely normalized, authoritarian instincts are getting less subtle by the week, and in the middle of all this, the executive branch is laser focused on dairy fat, not funding cafeterias, not improving meal quality, not addressing the hunger crisis, just swapping out one milk carton for another and calling it action and justice, a culture war that started inside of a refrigerator. Because anything is cheaper than fixing the system, and it can emotionally satisfy these adults who need to feel wronged at something, at anything, and small enough to fit into a lunch tray, but loud enough to feel like it's governance, a rebellion in a carton. Children's arteries are going to pay the price. Dairy lobbyists are celebrating, and the White House tweets like it just won Normandy. Again, I'm Lauren Paritra. Please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. If you are, turn those notifications on. Make sure they're on. Hype this video, which you can only do on mobile. Leave a comment. I hear at least 7 words because we got to maintain our lead on Katie Miller. And it takes all of us to fight this cray-cray fascism. And let us know what you want to talk about more next time.